Hi, I'm Mandi Feely-Swain, and we are here today for another episode of Origination Boost.
I have been in the mortgage business 30 years and have been a top producer and have an amazing team that supports me in order to stay a top producer. And the whole premise of the book is really just featuring, I'm like you, I have kind of let my success speak for itself. I'm not a real noisemaker about the things I do. And so writing a book just about me and my 30 years in the business didn't seem fitting. I really feel like winning is a community sport in the mortgage business. And those of us that have been doing it for a long, long time need to applaud the efforts of those around us. I believe in gratitude and abundance. I believe there's always more. And so I believe there's room to share this experience with other top originators across the country, because we all do it a little bit different. Like, I feel like you can put your playbook out there. I could share it with you, and you and I would do things so differently, right? With the same playbook. So I just wanted to feature strong, powerful originators that are good humans that just happen to do home loans in this book, and share their stories so that other originators that want to get to the seat you're in have a means to figure out how to do that by listening to words of wisdom of loan officers that have been doing it for a long time and continuing to succeed year after year in any market. So I'm so grateful you decided to join us today. So my first question is, tell us about you and, what's your backstory as far as been in the mortgage business, how long, and where did you start? Operations, sales?
So my story begins back in 1985 on my 19th birthday when I started in the industry. So 40 years, I just hit the 40 years mark. And I began as a part-time receptionist. In my soul and heart, I wanted to be a chemist. And I still would love to be a chemist, but it wasn't in the cards. I just needed to make a little extra money to get to, where my scholarship was back east. And so I had this opportunity to jump in as a part-time receptionist, like I said, and it just escalated from there. I think it was back in the 80s. And so it was very male driven. And there weren't a lot of female originators, but after my first probably 6 months, I was able to process for one of the only female originators in the county. And I think that was a big blessing for me, because it gave me the frontline view of just women, I think, in our industry still to this day, not probably by any purposeful measure. I think we have to work a little harder to get to where we're going, and it's probably that we're juggling all the things that we juggle between family and friends and neighbors and just our natural nurturing. I think we also tend to nurture our clients a little more on purpose, which I'm grateful for. And I hope that works better for us. So anyway.
So you rose up in the ranks, you started processing about 6 months. Your story and my story are very similar. You got sucked in the mortgage business and you didn't go back to become a chemist. You probably finished your degree and stayed in mortgage or whatever you did. But
yeah. I didn't even finish a degree.
Just got sucked into mortgage, and it's like a vortex, and it's a great industry to be in. I feel very blessed in my life to have been a mother and been able to spend time and attend everything I could and have unlimited earning potential. But I started like you as a processor. So at what point did you switch from processing to originating?
So in the beginning, I worked for a year for what was a mortgage company, but off a subsidiary of a bank. And then the second year I was asked to go work for a broker. So which was a great opportunity. So I went over after almost on my birthday again, my 20th birthday. So I go over and I start as a processor in this broker, and they're just starting their company. So I processed for about, I think it was 5 male loan originators at the time. And after the first year and a half, I realized how much input I was the buyers were coming to me. You know the story.
Yeah.
They're coming to me. Our communication's going. I'm running, the paperwork, the file, the relationship, for, lack of a better term. And I decided, you know what, I think I can do this originating. And so I went to my boss and he said, you can absolutely originate, but I need you to process for the other 5 originators as well. So during that process of time and learning and growth, I was out marketing when I could. And then I was processing at the other. Well, about 4 months in, I became the top producing loan originator along with the processor. True story. My boss at the time, I was putting my husband through school. So there was motivation.
Yeah.
And we had a little boy. We had a little boy at the time. And my boss came to me and he's like, hey, you're doing great. And, you're closing loans and I recognize what you're doing. But he's like, these other loan originators, they've got bigger families and bigger obligations than you. So I need you to help. Like, I'm not going to be able to pay you your full commission. I need to share it with some of these other families and just work with me on this. And I was so amicable and willing, and I did it. I was just, obviously I wasn't in it right then, for the money. I don't think I've ever been in it for the money, but as I've grown into the industry, boy, do you work hard? I'm not, I think that's where you decide if you're in it for the services or if you're in it for the money. Because I could have said, pound sand.
Right.
No, this is what I've earned, What that did, though, is it allowed me to take kind of a step back and figure out, okay, if this is the way this is going to go, in this arm or in this transition period, maybe we want to rethink this. I eventually did go as an originator on my own and didn't have to process anymore as the company, grew. And then I eventually just started my own company.
Oh, very cool. What year was that?
And that was good. We started in 93 and we ran it for, my husband is a software engineer. So while we owned it together, we never worked together. But we had that going for 21 years. So,
awesome.
So that's where we raised our family. Was, in that.
Your kids understand the mortgage business. My kids understand the mortgage business.
They do. And
what did your kids learn from you being a working mom and through that? What did they learn?
Well, I think we weren't afraid at the dinner table to talk financial lit, And so, and I look back, every one of my kids, we started their credit at 16 because I knew it. I knew how to start their credit. So they're graduating from high school. They've got their credit cards. They've got, they're responsible. They get it. They understand a FICO score, And so this, I think, a mantra in our family has always been knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
And financial literacy, when you understand the game and how it works, you have a high level of respect, not only for your career, but it's pretty powerful when you understand and assign your earnings a job.
Yes. Yes.
Your earnings are working for you. You're not working for your earnings.
I love that. But, okay, so I have some questions here. So I otherwise I'll just get off topic. I will. It's a bad thing for me. Because I tend to be like, man, you didn't ask all those questions. So let me get back here. So, okay. So we know how you started in the business, phenomenal, long time ago, and started at the front desk. So you learned the paperwork side before you ever learned to sell, and probably why you would empathize with those folks and understand the paperwork. That's why you grew your business so quickly, is because you could put structure a loan. So any mentors in your career that really have helped you and guided you during this 40-year career that you've had, this phenomenal career, that you'd say were pivotal in helping you grow up or learn something marketing wise that you didn't know? Who was that? Or was it yourself and you learned it bootstraps and reading books, or how did you do it?
I think it's always, I have to give credit for the circle that we were in. I think that's our biggest influence, and it takes us one way or the other, down one lane or the other. Going back to that female originator that I originated for, Julie Mackey, she was very, very instrumental, I think, in showing me that she was very classy, but she wasn't afraid to tackle things, and she wasn't afraid to stand up for and represent her buyers. And I think watching her take on that originating role, I thought, oh, okay, I'm the advocate. As the originator, I advocate for the buyer.
Right.
I'm building your story for you to tell the underwriter and the funder to cut a check so you can buy this house.
Yeah. Well, and I think, the 80s, to your point, was very male dominated. And to see a strong woman that was succeeding maybe in a very male dominated industry was phenomenal at the time. And the 80s weren't easy to be in the business.
No.
And there have been waves. So tell me, my next question is maybe what challenges? So, how did you overcome them, whether they were professional or personal? It could be the pandemic. It could have been the great real estate recession. It could be the taper tantrum that happened in 22. It could have been the 80s when rates were way, way higher. What do you think in your amazing career was kind of one challenge that you overcame and had to power through to stay in this business?
I would have to say, go back. I think this is like my 6th or 7th recession, just different shift, in the industry. And as I look back and I look at the different things that are going on in the economy, the consumer confidence, the look of the buyer, is the buyer blue collar, white collar? Back in the day, that's how we generalize salary versus hourly and trade, right? Both portfolios look different, but both are very critical to growing an economy. Yes. And so through the different years, I think especially through the recession, when borrowers were losing value daily on their asset that they had a lien against, my heart was just tearing through, my soul. And one thing that I am very grateful for is that during the early 2000s, right after 9/11, when Bush had to bring in confidence and, hey, we want to be homeowners and let's keep America great. So they came out with all those new products, no income, no asset, the Ninas, it was true. A pizza worker could buy a $500,000, a pizza delivery, in the beginning, though, my husband and I sat down and we decided, okay, this is a pivotal thing because there's all these different options and there is a lot of money to make in this industry. But we made a critical decision, I think. We decided that I was not going to sell any product, period, that I would not sign a note or a trust deed to. And we held with that. So thank goodness we didn't sell any B paper. We didn't sell anything so that at night, the end of the day, the money didn't come flowing in. It didn't, but I could sleep at night and I knew without a doubt that I had educated or given my buyers or clients the knowledge of what the right product might be or the safe product, Yeah, so I didn't have to worry about that.
I think you bring up a very valid point that at the core of who we are as human beings, we must live to our own integrity and our own standard and be able to look ourselves in the eye. And money can be made or lost, but your integrity cannot be bought or sold. And I live by that principle. And many of the top originators I've met, because they have longevity in this business, they've done it because they're honest, they're forthright, they have integrity, they think of the customer first. So I applaud you and your husband for making that decision. I'm sure it was not easy because there was other people that were doing all kinds of loans and you were sticking to the traditional paper mortgages. So I applaud you for getting through that. So anyway,
Thank you.
I digress a little bit, but
No, but we're grateful for that. That was just a good, that's when your true grit comes in my mind, because the money's out there and we could have brought it in. I had every channel and every outlet to make that possible for our family to benefit. But the integrity level is where the side of integrity is where you say, wait a minute though, what is benefiting my family? Is it really benefiting this other family? And that's when you have to draw the line of why you're in this business. Are you in it to service others for their benefit and to help them, or to take the money?
Right. Well, let's talk about grit, because that's one of my very favorite words. I love that. I love that. Actually, like a pillar of who PMR is. But I love it because it says so much without saying much, And so let's talk about grit and what that means to you. I'm sure you've had originators that have been new in this business, and you've seen originators come and go in this industry. And so my question for you is, what do you think separates those from longevity versus those that are maybe in a short play in this industry? Because I looked at a national stat, and I think originators aren't staying the course with maybe a company. They don't take an internal check of themselves. They blame a company for the shortcomings of that origination cycle, I guess. And I think that the average is like 3 years with a company right now. And I find it fascinating. And so I just want your take on what you think about that. And I think it comes down to the grit and the just sticking power of a human being. But what's your take?
My take, probably because I'm old lady, right? Old lady here.
Well, you look fantastic. You don't all look like old ladies.
You're so cute. You're so great. Thank you. But my take, as you're talking, I'm thinking over all the different generations and the different loan officers and originators that I've had in my office and processors along with it. I think these last few generations, I really think just like a home, they're in a home for maybe 3 to 4 years versus 6 to 8 years, or even the generation that I come from and the one before me where they stay forever. Oh, this is our forever home. So kind of twofold there. I think sometimes originators might get in the business as a learning curve and see how they can manage schedule, timing, family, balance, work-life balance, whatever that is. Is that a thing? No. Come on. Just the term drives me crazy, gets me.
Yeah,
but
I love that. Yeah, so if you're going to be exceptional at any career, I think that the work-life balance is difficult.
I do too, and so I think with the different generations and the ones coming, I don't know if their mindset is even in the long-term career, but rather, okay, I'm going to get in, I'm going to, realize it. And like my son-in-law, he's my partner. So he's been my partner for almost 8 years now. He came into the industry, poor guy, has to work with his mother-in-law. But I've noticed that, and he's 30, right? He's in that kind of that generation. But he looks over at my database, and I've got a 3-generation database. Like I'm financing grandkids from my original clients.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I've got these 3 generations, and all of a sudden that looks different to him, the depth of my database, because in a thin market or in a, an insecure market, what do we call this? A bouncy, wonky market where mortgages come and go from month to month. That database is my warm, secure, comfort blankie.
Yeah.
And those people are my people. And they're my families and my friends, and they're my relationship. And I've been in long enough to realize the value of a deep, sincere database. People that get in for a short time they build a database, or they build okay, I'm going to do this loan now and, refinance, where do whatever you want to do after. I'm in and out. That's fine. There's no right or wrong. They're both right. It's just the depth that you get with yourself and your, confidence and knowledge with you as a professional career, I think.
Well, and how do you market your database? I think LOs that are going to read the book are going to say, well, how did she do it? How does she sustain herself? Why is the database paying dividends for years and years and years, right? Time after, in any market, that I think that'll be of interest to them. So how do you market your database? What do you do?
So for me, for marketing a database, it means touches. And getting to know your people. So we send emails out. Most of the people will keep their emails, right? And this is tricky because we don't normally run their mortgage through their business emails. We run it through their personal emails. Not a bad thing, right? For us in the long run. Right now, and this has been a practice of ours that we've done for years, but when we get some clients in, my LOA and I will get them in a group text. Well, I'm not about ready to change my cell phone number, and neither is he, and most people aren't. I'd rather bear another child than buy a cell phone or change a number.
Yes, amen. Yes.
So those are things that stay. Those keep our database, and what's the harm in every now and again dialing someone up, on a text and saying, how's the house? I'm going to need a picture. How does the house look during Christmas time? Send me a picture.
I love that. That's such a great.
If they don't have me still in their database, or if they've, changed phones or however it works, I still put a dash Maralee, just to make sure. But very seldom do those texts or emails go unanswered, whether it's a cute emoji coming back or a picture coming back.
Oh, I love that so much. And being that you have a team, you have an LOA, it sounds like you have your son-in-law as a loan officer within your team. How is your team structured? So just to kind of button it up, you're emailing your database regularly, you're picking up the phone or sending a quick text message, especially to your A clients, your superstars, right? Those clients that are big fans of yours. And then to add to that, now you've built a team, right? At what point did you go, wow, I need help. I built it to where I need assistance, and I need, and I can feel confident in building this team, right? Because once you add a person, their family and their livelihood is on you to make it rain.
It's on you.
Yes.
It's on you. That's part of, when you hit the pillow every night, you're like, did I do what I needed to do? Did I support and nourish everything and everybody I needed to nourish, And most of the time it's no. I always leave things, yet to do, which gets us up to the next day. But I think for me, I've always loved bringing somebody else in just for the extra eye on things and the extra paperwork. I unfortunately am very hands-on. I say unfortunately because I'm very controlling and protective. These files, these buyers, they're my babies. Like, we represent them, and so it's taken me a few different assistants and teams before we're all on the same page. The team we've got right now, like my son-in-law, we both share the same LOA, but he is off on his own. He's Spanish speaking. He's in that younger generation. He's got licenses all over the place, and he just goes and does. We run total opposite.
Interesting.
Clientele, and even our agents. We love real estate agents. I think that's very important. I do. In the mortgage success is to be friends with your agents and be respectful of that real estate agent. But when we come together, we all come together on the same page, and that's buyers first. And to make sure that our buyers have that financial literacy and that they feel empowered because we have given them the knowledge and the ability to feel empowered.
I love that. I love that so much. So what I hear you saying is you get business from your database,
Mm-hmm.
database first, probably then you have agent partners.
Mm-hmm.
And some of you reading this, they're like, how do I build strong relationships with agent partners? And I'm going to circle back about your team because I really want to add to that, because I think that you brought up a very solid point about finding the right people to be on your team. So I want to circle back to that, but I do want to ask you, because you brought up realtors, how do you solidify those relationships? You're new to the business, you're first year LO, you're 5 years in and you don't have enough agent partners to really drive the business that you want for, to hit your goals. What's your thoughts in solidifying those relationships, or building them, or getting your foot in the door, or whatever you want to talk about on that subject? I think it would be amazing.
I think realtor relationships has changed. It's evolved definitely over the years. Back in the day, I used to take in a flyer, go to a desk, sit down, take a treat, do something fun, and I know we went through the big stage of coffee for, where you'd meet them and do, small little things. In my opinion, a real estate agent, if they understand that you're bringing them something of value, let me help you let me help you not only build your business. If you even need to help a realtor build, like, they're going to build their business the way they're going to do it, and you're going to build your business the way you're going to do it. There's always going to be that weave of similar personality, similar beliefs. You can shoulder to shoulder with that real estate agent. When you can't. It's just always a rub, or, when they don't hesitate to let you know you're not a good fit for me, or I need you to do this, or I need you to they're vocal with us. They're not afraid to throw it our way that things aren't working, right?
Oh.
I don't have a lot of patience for that. I know without a doubt that I am a good partner, and that I'm loyal, and I've got the amount of integrity that your borrower needs to be successful. And I'm going to shoot you straight. I'm going to say, this buyer, go show them houses right now, and we'll get to the end. We're going to make this happen. Or let's groom this buyer for another 6 months to a year. I'm not afraid to say it how it is, because it saves them time and money while they're growing their business. It's nothing malicious. It's nothing that we can't solve in the end, but it's just that honest conversation, and
I love that. I'm going to groom them to get to where they're going. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying when.
Yeah, they're in our database.
Right? That like-minded, work together to help reach the goal.
When you think about your circle of influence, circle of friends, circle of family, a lot of times people will say, this is my family circle. What if this was my family circle? And what if that entailed that work-life balance, that family, you know what I mean? There is not a rule out there. There's no boundary on how broad we can make our family circle.
Yes.
And so I think with that in mind, bring people in. Again, it's about the relationship for me. And I think that's where my roots have gone deep, and I'm passionate about that. You can tell. And I think there's real estate agents that feel the same way, and they don't have to be my age. They could be 2 generations younger. Yeah. But when you see eye to eye, that's a good team.
Absolutely.
I've got your back, you've got mine.
And I think that's amazing advice, right? You want to don't beat your head against the wall with maybe agents that aren't like-minded to you.
No.
I know we're over our time. Can I have a little bit more time with you?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, good. This has been fun, and I love it so much. And I think you're just pouring into others and paying it forward for a career well performed and success and all the things that you've had in your life. And to me, that's what this book's about, is just really paying it forward, because other people poured into me and loved me, and I learned hard things. And I just wanted to have this book so that and share it with other human beings that also shared the same like-mindedness that I have, that they were willing to pour into others and pay it forward and just share their stories, so that on their hardest days, on your hardest days, how do you continue to be in this business for 40 years or 30 years in my case? And I think that goes to my question of what is your why? Initially, you said you had a husband that was going to school and a baby or a toddler at home, right? And that was your why. But I'm guessing that those have evolved over time. Your why. What has it been for you in recent years? Why you continue to do what you do, and what drives you on your hardest days when a client leaves, or they can get a better rate online, or, you know, an inspection comes back and they've made 3 offers and the inspection comes back and you think you were going to go to closing and now they're going to bounce and they're going to go do another house and you have to start back over. You know, those are the hard days, right? Or you thought you had a real estate partner and they say, no, thank you. Whatever it is, how do you, you know, put your boots on the ground the next morning and keep going?
You know, that's a good question. And as you were talking and describing, you know, I'm going way back into my beginning years and now into my older years. I'm realizing that the industry hasn't changed enough to where you're always confident, like every day is a walk in the park with cotton candy. It's just not. And this is the industry. If you're in it, you have to have true grit. But on that, along with the true grit, you know, you've got to have the commitment to yourself, to your family, and to your buyers, to your team, that come what may, we're going to see this through. And if the loan doesn't close, it wasn't meant to be. And if something does happen with the inspection or something doesn't, you know, it's going to keep, there's going to be something right around the corner. I was thinking when I was a young mom and my babies, I mean, I'm getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep at night and I've got to hit work, you know, the next day. And we work against deadlines every day.
Yeah, the minute you accept that contract, you are on a clock.
You're on a deadline. And
Yes.
and as the years have gone by, man, that goes fast. Like time to process a loan is fast. You're always moving. You don't vacation 100%. You vacation about 70% with work in the back and family, you know, again, this balance. But I remember back in the middle of my career, just feeling so overwhelmed. And I remember just saying a prayer like, hey, if this is meant to be, find tomorrow to be a bright day for me to go forward. If it's not meant to be, please give me the exit out so that life will settle down over
Heavenly
here.
Father, show me the way and I'll follow.
Absolutely. And guess what? The way was to just keep moving forward, keep your integrity level, love your buyers and your agents the way you do, love your family, and it all comes full circle. And every day it just, you know what I mean? Like I wake up and here we go again. And so I would say, unless you hit a mountain that looks too big to climb, if you're just hitting the little hills and the dirt hills and you can climb up them and go over, do it because it's worth it. Not only is the value there for you as a woman to create a pretty darn good career, but the value is there for your family. Not just for the things that we can afford our families and the opportunities that we afford our families, but our families learn, again, financial literacy, and they learn not to be afraid to make decisions and not to be afraid to, you know, where to figure out your debts and keep your credit high and save money. So I'm grateful for that.
My kids, I feel blessed that they've been able to watch me work really hard, succeed, and still show up for them. And so I really feel like just being present, because the work-life balance is a farce. I'm with you. Let's just throw that out the window. But I do believe that you can be present when you're with your family, when you're with a buyer, when you're with an agent, we're here together, right? my daughter was calling while you and I were chatting, and I'm like, okay, so I'll call her back after,
Oh,
And so I just think that that's key though, but I do think that's great advice. If you're getting in the mortgage industry, you got to be all in, deep in it. There's not a lot of work-life balance, but there is a way to maintain sanity because you can
yes.
be present when you are wherever you are.
Exactly. And the other thing too is as women, and as mothers, we don't ever need to apologize for having our kids with us while we're at work. Absolutely not. They are the team.
I
Our
love that.
kids are the team. We
I love
don't,
that.
and that sends a big message to your kids.
Yeah.
Now my children, they've all graduated. I've got these two beautiful daughters and two sons, and one son's wife is in medical school with him, and another son's wife is home with the children. And both my daughters, one gets to stay home and one she's going into PA school. But they'll call me often and give me feedback on memories of growing up. We remember the type you let us come in and type, and we set up a room for the kids. And that passes forward into their family life. And what a blessing I get to see right now firsthand while my kids are where I was, 25 years ago. And it's a beautiful thing. I don't regret any of it. I really don't.
I love that so much. So let's talk about just your business mix and what that looks like today. If you're trying to be an up and coming loan officer and pushing to the next level, I know for me, it was learning to manage my database and learning to love on my customers more. Then I learned to love on real estate agents and find those like-minded real estate agents that I could work with. Then it was slowly integrating and loving on a builder that has been a big blessing in mine and my team's life. But I just am curious for you, what's your business mix? And how many channels do you think an LO needs to have in order to really succeed in this industry? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question, because for me, I think I want to know it all. I want to know every product, and yet there's this, I think in the beginning, if you're starting out or if you're in the first several years, I think you find 2 to 3 products that you can just navigate in your sleep, that it, you can stay up on the regulations. And as you teach people and educate people or post things about specific things, if you're going to be good at helping people fix their credit and go into the first time home buyer, be the best in that niche and then move on to the next. Sometimes if we try and take it all in and give every product, what's that statement? You're a little bit about a lot
of things,
but you're not the master of anything. And so get something underneath you that you're the master of, because that'll grow your confidence and it increases your communication and it increases your level of security while you're talking to others. I can do that. And this is my experience of what I've had. And then grow from there. I would say don't expect to know all of it all at once, or try and maybe hyper focus on a few little, just hone in on what you are good for. And I think your instincts tell you where your comfort level is and what you want to hyper focus on as far as a product goes.
Really great advice. Really great advice.
And even kind of that arena of database and where you're at, I would tell you too that anytime I've been stuck, anytime I get stuck in my career with, okay, where do I go next? My go-to is to take 10 thank you cards. And I write out 10 thank yous, and it doesn't necessarily go to agents or past clients. It goes to anybody. And it's addressed and mailed and, with a stamp on it so that they get it. I'm telling you, there is something absolutely magical.
I am with you. I get goosebumps because I couldn't agree more that the art of putting something in the mail to another human just to say thank you for whatever it is.
Yeah. Here's my gratitude in ink for you. I see you.
Yes, I see you. I see you. I love that so much. You have no idea. So the single most important thing in a 40-year career that you think you've done that's made magic happen for you, is it the thank you notes, or is it your what is it that you think the single most important thing that you have had to do in your career? It could be a personality thing. It could be an actual system you used, process, to really make your business go all these years.
I think two things. I've been very stable. I've been very Monday to Friday, and of course Saturday, Sunday. I'm not going to lie.
Your consistency.
My consistency. I show up. I'm consistent. I'm a great communicator. And I am absolutely not nervous whatsoever to be humble and grateful for everything that comes along. And even if I have a buyer that comes into my life and shops me or finds the deal of a lifetime that I cannot meet, I'm like, you gotta go. You gotta take that deal
this
right
is super
now.
Good. Yeah.
I need your family to do that. That's a win. So you design your wins. I design my wins when it's a win all the way around, and when I know every family benefits.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that.
Because they know you were honest.
And you know what? It has just never let me down. They'll tell someone else, about me, or I'll get a call, thank you so much, or they'll send me a thank you. That's a win.
Yeah.
So,
I think you bring up a very, very good point. It's not on my list or anything, but I think that celebrating those small wins is super critical when you're a commission loan officer. I think you bring up something very, very valid, and I'll wrap it up with this because I think it's super important for people to hear, is that you saying it's a win, you didn't get a check, is super important for originators to hear, because it's hard, because you may be laying foundation today that doesn't provide fruit, planting seeds, however you want to say it, that doesn't provide fruit may never, most likely will, but could be 90, 120, a year from now, 4 years from now, whatever you name it. I think that you've got to celebrate your wins, and you kind of have to do something good for yourself every day, or to have the grit you spoke of. Don't you think?
That's right. I do. And I think, again, back to the win, you've got to clarify what your win is. My win, again, is if every family benefits. My win is that my kids are successful and they all have good credit and great desire and grit. My kids have got grit, Those are the wins. Next, the paycheck is 3 or 4 wins down the step,
Yes.
And so I think if you design what a win looks like right now, I think you build, a pretty solid base on longevity and success.
I love
in
that.
The mortgage industry.
What one thing, if I didn't ask it, what would you have liked me to ask you that maybe you'd like to have covered, that you'd like originators to know about you, your business, advice, a blueprint, a knock it out of the park idea, whatever it is? What one thing, what maybe I didn't cover that you think would be really important for people to know that are in our industry?
Gosh, I think you covered it all, really. Plus,
good.
I would say that as a female, if you're writing this book to women, I would say that as a woman, I think what I've learned over the years is to compare yourself to you. When you compare yourself to you, you're your best friend and your worst enemy. Don't look at the outside sources. Don't look at everybody else's numbers over here or their routines over here or what they're doing. We didn't come down to earth to be judged for someone else's worthiness. We came down to build us and to build our worthy. And so I would say stick with you make sure you're your own teammate.
Yes, I
You
love
know
that.
who you are, and you build it around that, and you build it with confidence.
I think that's great advice for any originator, you know, male
I do
or
too.
female, Billy,
Yeah.
is I always say, don't you be the disruptor in your market. Don't get disrupted by those around you, you know. The
100%.
Michael Phelps of the world that are swimming in the Olympics, I guarantee you he's not looking in the lanes
No.
next to him. He's running he's swimming his race, he's doing him, he's paying attention to all the things he needs to do. And I think that top originators have made their own paths. And I love that you finished with that, because I think a lot of times everybody's worried about how good my flyer is, or what somebody else is doing over here on social media, or they have this product, or they have this rate. You can spend a lot of time with that white noise that around you, versus just really staying your course, running your race, pivoting as needed.
Right.
And I think that's I'm so grateful you said that, because I think originators need to hear that, in no matter what phase they're in their life, you know, they need to learn to be the disruptors if they want to be top producers.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Yes. It's been my